Welcome back to RVBarndominium. We're going to do a touchback on another video that I done about putting the pull bars back onto the windows after that have popped off. It's a friction fitting with the rubber gasket on it. I did a previous video where I used golf club hand grip double-sided tape that you wet, which made it slick so you can slide these back in and get them back in. And they pretty much worked on most of the windows, but I did have two of them. I knew this one wasn't on very good when I did it, but I let it ride. I thought, well, we'll just see how it goes. But this one did pull off. The double-sided tape, you can see the residue is still on there. And if I put my finger back there, it is very gooey. So it obviously, it didn't harden up like a glue, and it didn't get real like a medium between dried and not dried, but flexible. It is really gooey, and that's probably why it did, since it wasn't on good, it did pop off. Now, somebody had made a comment in the comments of the first video, thank you very much, to basically say try and glue them on. I was trying to avoid that because I didn't want all the glue and all that or whatnot, but I tell you what, we've been using this E600 glue. You get this anywhere, at Walmart, Ace Hardware, you know, big box lumber yards, and it's clear. It does not dry hard. It does stay malleable. And I think it even is paintable. Yep, flexible, paintable, clear, transparent. And yeah, we use this on all kinds of stuff. It's also thick. So one of the things you got to worry about is when if you do this and put a glue in it, is the glue running down because of gravity and then getting down in the channel of your track here on your window. You don't want that because then your window won't work. So I usually just stick like a stick down there in case it does drip down. It'll come down and hit the stick. The other key is just don't put a lot of it on there. Put what you need and we'll get it on there. One of the issues that I have to address is that I'm not going to be putting that rubber seal in there because I'm going to be putting it on. You can't, with that rubber seal on, you can't get it on there. Been the problem the whole time. So I took that rubber seal out, but because that rubber seal is not there anymore, it's got a lot of play in it. The thickness of the window is thinner than this track a lot, so it wobbles. Now, you can either fill it with a lot of glue, you know, option number one, or what I have chose to do is what I'm going to do is I'm going to use vice grips. And I'm just going to basically, I'm going to squeeze it shut just a little bit. Not much, just enough to where it's not so much play. I'm using vice grips for one key reason. If you just use a pair of pliers and you start crimping, well, the crimp up here might be less or more than the crimp right here, because you're not going to consistently crimp it, or one spot's going to be softer and you'll really just crimp it all the way down. Then it'll be too tight. You got to pry it back open, and it's just going to be all wonky. If you use a pair of vice grips and you set your gap in your vice grips, then when you walk down, you just click it all the way closed, and then just keep walking down, clipping it all the way closed. Every single one of them will close the same distance somewhat as what gap you have in there. So you just got to play it by ear, try it a few times, see what that gap is to make it go. You don't want a tight fit. It don't have to be tight, but I don't want it real sloppy either. So there's just a ton of goopy glue in there that's going to run down and whatever. The tighter, the better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go along and start crimping this, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I think I've got the distance of the gap that I want. I did it just at the end a little bit. Then I put it in at the top and just waddled it back and forth to see if that's how tight I wanted it. So what I'm doing is I'm going along this gap, and I just squeeze it in until it clicks. Then I move down. Just keep on working my way down until I get all the way to the end. So I'm going to go all the way down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get some Gooby Gone or some cleaner, whatever. I'm going to get this old glue off, or the old tape, and the stickiness of the tip. I'm going to get that off too, so that we've got a good glass surface for the E600 or E6000 glue to stick to. So I'm going to do that offline. Be right back. Well, all right, I got the channel crimped down to about the right size, so now it doesn't flop around nearly as much. And so I'm going to put some of the E6000 glue in there, and then I'm going to put it on. Make sure I got my orientation. Now I'm not going to put a whole lot of glue in there at all because it's a fairly tight fit, and so you don't want it to all squeeze out, mush all over the window and all over the place. So I'm just going to run a bead down it. Really, I'm not going to get too close to the bottom because it will run a little bit on the inside after it's put together. I'm not squeezing it very hard. It looks like I'm not putting any in it, but I'm just not squeezing it real hard. Now I'm going to take a stick here and kind of run it on the inside, smear it around on all the surfaces. There's not that much in here. I can tell by the feel when I'm doing this. So I'll put a little more. Wipe off any excess that's on the outside. I'm going to move it up and down just a little bit to distribute that glue down. Feels good. Feels like it's sticky. I'm going to hold it up a little bit from the bottom, and as you can tell, I put a little piece of there's a little piece of towel there in case it drips down or dripping on a towel. I'm also going to put a popsicle stick in here, just so if it starts to slide down, it'll hit that stick and stop. So, yeah. We'll check it out in the morning and see how she works. Well, it's the next day. Let's check her out. Doesn't look like no glue came down. And, she's holding tight. So, yeah. Looks like it worked out. So, we'll see if this holds on to the E6000 glue, which you can get at Walmart, any big box store, or your big box lumber yards. But looks like it'll do the job too. So there's another tip or trick. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So let's see how all these work out. I do have some silicone to spray in window slides for the RV. Saw that at the store the other day, so I got some of that to spray down in these tracks so they slide just a little bit more. But other than that, looks like she's pretty good to go. Thanks for sticking with us here on RVBarndominium. Be sure and like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next trip.